136. Report the runway clear. Hello. Control room, hello. I repeat. Report the runway clear. Hello. Hello. We're still on the runway. Stop. Stop. Oh, goddamn.
6 minutes after takeoff, the pilots of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 were fighting their own airplane. They pulled, it pushed back. 5 months earlier, 9,000 kilometers away, another brand new Boeing 737 had done almost exactly the same thing. Nobody outside Boeing was supposed to know why. In August 2011, Airbus announced a new plane, the A320neo. Bigger engines, better fuel economy, and airlines loved it. Boeing had a decision to make: design a brand new aircraft from scratch, which could take a decade, or take their best-selling plane, the 737, and re-engine it fast. They chose fast. New engines, 4% more fuel efficient, promised to match or beat the Airbus. And critically, Boeing promised airlines their pilots wouldn't need expensive new training. It would fly, they said, just like every 737 before it. There was just one problem: the new engines didn't fit. The 737 sits low to the ground, a design from the 1960s. The new engines were too big to fit underneath the wing the way they always had, so Boeing's engineers moved them forward and higher. It solved the clearance problem, but it created a new one. At high angles of attack, those larger engine casings started acting like a second, unwanted wing, generating lift of their own in exactly the wrong place. The nose wanted to pitch up, on its own, more than any 737 before it ever had. That wasn't supposed to happen, so Boeing needed something to quietly correct it, not a redesign, a patch. Boeing's fix was called MCAS, the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. Its job was simple. If the nose pitched too high, MCAS would push it back down automatically. Pilots wouldn't even feel it happen. That was the point. It was designed to be invisible. It relied on one sensor, an angle of attack vane on the outside of the fuselage, measuring the angle of the airflow. One sensor, not two, not a vote between them, one. And in 2016, at Boeing's request, the FAA let the company remove all mention of MCAS from the pilot's flight manual, the system that could take control of the airplane. Pilots didn't know it existed. October 29, 2018, a nearly new 737 MAX took off from Jakarta. Minutes later, a faulty sensor began feeding the flight computer bad data, telling it the nose was dangerously high when it wasn't. MCAS believed the sensor. Again and again, it pushed the nose down. The pilot fought back each time, but the system kept resetting, kept firing, more than 24 times. The aircraft entered the Java Sea at over 400 miles an hour. All 189 people on board were killed. Investigators found the cause within weeks. Boeing issued a bulletin. Airlines were told how to handle the malfunction, and the MAX kept flying. March 10, 2019, 5 months later, a different airline, a different crew, the same aircraft type. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 lifted off from Addis Ababa, and almost immediately the same erroneous sensor data appeared. This crew had read the bulletin, they knew the procedure, they followed it. It wasn't enough. At the speed they were flying, the manual trim wheel required more physical force than they could apply in time. 6 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft crashed. 157 people were killed. 2 crashes, 5 months apart, the same failure. March 13, 2019, the United States grounded every 737 MAX in the country. Within days, so had the rest of the world. 387 aircraft grounded on the ground, 8,600 flights a week, gone overnight. It would be 21 months before a MAX carried a passenger again, the longest grounding of any U.S. airliner in history. And as investigators dug deeper, they found something worse than a design flaw. Internal messages later surfaced. Boeing engineers had raised concerns about MCAS's reliance on a single sensor before either crash happened. That concern didn't reach the pilots. It didn't reach the airlines.
and by the company's own admission, it didn't reach federal regulators the way it should have. In July 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice announced Boeing had agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy for misleading the regulators responsible for approving the plane in the first place. The final cost an estimated $20 billion in fines, compensation, and legal fees. Some prices don't show up on a balance sheet. The MAX flew again in November 2020 with a redesigned MCAS, no longer able to act on a single faulty sensor alone. But in January 2024, a door panel blew out mid-flight on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9. No one died, but it reopened every question about how Boeing builds its airplanes and how closely anyone is really watching. The MAX was never really about one piece of software. It was about how fast a company can move before something has to catch up to it.
Subscribe.